Hey everyone, welcome to Build Series in New York City. I'm your host, Lauren Moraski, and I'm very excited about these two next guests. Ben Harper and Charlie Musselwhite teamed up on the Grammy-winning album Get Up in 2013. Now they're collaborating once again for their new album, No Mercy in This Land, due out March 30th. Before we bring them out, here's an early look at the making of No Mercy in This Land.
It had to be done. There's just too much open road for Charlie and I.
The music was just like wild horses breaking out of a corral. You know, the music was waiting to get out.
What's changed since the first album, we're that much further into our connection and our friendship. And that's had time to solidify in a way that I could have never dreamed. It's like family.
The friendship, which is really important to play together musically and share our musical ideas because they're coming from our hearts. It's not just from our heads. This is really soulful music.
It just felt like there was too much left to be said still between the two of us.
It's nice to be able to work with somebody who understands what you want to say, and we can do it together.
Sometimes I make choices, sometimes they make me. Lonesome distance between here and where you think I should be.
It's a natural place for my musical and creative instinct. I feel as much or more at home playing with Charlie than anyone I've ever played with in my life. The blues I write is born to be played with Charlie.
Tonight the bottle wins again.
Blues is always going to be here because it's about life and about people.
When blues is doing what it's supposed to do, it's a mirror, not only to yourself, but to the culture and times you're living.
I say it's your comforter when you're down, and it's your good buddy when you're up. It's always there for you. Now, blues music is food for the heart and soul.
He's already the greatest living harmonica player, and he's just getting better, so I get to witness his growth, and it's inspiring to me. Because there comes a time when, you go, okay, where do I go from here? And Charlie's proof that you can evolve as a musician throughout your entire life without having to, press rewind. I've always shied away from saying music is autobiographical because then it gives out too much, but how can it not be?
These days I speak in whispers, travel only to and from. Come close, you'll see the red of a well-bitten tongue.
This album is personal on many levels. I mean, I had to deal with the murder of my mother, and Ben wrote a verse about that, and it feels good to me to be able to address that. I don't want to, tamp it down like it never happened. I want to be able to talk about it and put the sunshine on it so it doesn't fester in the back of my mind.
Father left us down here all alone. My poor mother is under a stone with an aching heart and trembling hands. Is there no mercy in this land?
The whole band has this rapport that is obvious when you hear the music.
What is it about our connection and how it's grown and our friendship? I think you can only hear that by pressing play.
I think this album has a lot of depth, a lot of feeling, and it can be fun at the same time. I think everybody will find something in it that means something to them, and it'll resonate with their hearts like it resonates with us.
All right, please welcome Ben Harper and Charlie Musselwhite. Guys, we are thrilled to have you here today.
Thrilled to be here.
Yeah, it's an exciting time for you all. You know, you've teamed up before. Now we're seeing you teaming up again. You've said that you had to do this again. Why so? Charlie, yeah, let's hear it.
Well, we didn't know the first album, we didn't know how it would do. We believed in it. We knew it was great music, but we didn't know. So we went out on the road and toured for about 2 years, and man, the response we got, and the music just got stronger and stronger, and the band kept getting tighter and tighter, and we knew there's more to do, and the music just demanded it. So here we are.
Here we are.
And I plan on making as much music with this gentleman as humanly possible.
Same here.
And a couple of quick anecdotes. It'll be less than 20 seconds. We were doing a gig at the White House, and Steve Cropper, Doc of the Bay, one of the finest guitar players in the history of the instrument, came up to me and he put his finger on my chest. He said, "Young man, you know how lucky you are to be playing with Charlie Musselwhite?" I was like, I know. He was like, "Okay, good. Steve Cropper, nice to meet you." He walked away. And then yesterday, we're going down the street. We see G. Smith cruising around, and he stops Charlie and he took the time to say, "Hey, you know how lucky you are to be playing with him?" I go, "Yes." You know what I mean? Like, I know.
So you're pinching yourself every day, essentially.
It's a living dream.
Amazing, but I understand that you're also so you respect Ben so much too. I mean, it's mutual
totally
love.
mutual, yeah.
He can't
I
shake
feel
me.
the same way, yeah.
I don't think you'd let him get away though at this point.
No.
You know, I was going to ask you about the White House, but I mean, what was it like playing for Barack Obama?
Just another gig.
Yeah.
No. No, it was great because it was a tribute to music from Memphis. So there's a lot of guys like Steve Cropper
Yeah,
and
that's right. That's
Booker T and Mavis Staples was
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
And Cyndi Lauper. I don't know why
Justin
she had to do with
Timberlake.
Memphis, but Cyndi. She had an album called Memphis Blues. That's what it was.
she went
But we had
country a
a
little bit.
great time because it was like
Blast.
Old Home Week or something.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, how do you approach this album differently than you approached your first album together? Now that you've been together, you've gotten closer over the last couple of years.
How did we approach it?
Yeah.
Differently.
Differently.
Yeah.
The music was just, all this music was pent up, wanting to escape, you know. We had to get in the studio and record it so we could relieve ourselves of this wonderful music and release it
Yeah.
and share it.
And the first record kicked the door open for what was to come. And I had a feeling after that first record was done, we could pass it, we could surpass it. And
Yeah, we were on to something.
we're onto something. That's it. That's it.
What's it like in the room together when you're recording? It seems like magic happens.
Oh, yeah, the studio was just filled with magic. But we all show up with our individual talents. Ben's tunes, we start going through them, and nobody has to be explained anything. We all know exactly what to do, and we're of like minds.
And it's a very balanced group of people in the band. Jason Mazursky on guitar, Jimmy Paxson on drums, Jesse Ingalls on guitar, Ethan Allen behind the board as the engineer, Charlie and I, and everyone knows that the production is from the best idea in the room. So it's a very collaborative process to bring it to life. And what makes that collaboration sound like it does for this record or from one record to the next is that camaraderie and those million miles we've put in on the road and those few hundred shows that we've played together. To be able to apply that interconnectedness to No Mercy in This Land, I think is the heart of the sound.
And how long does that take for you all to record something like this?
3 days?
I think
2 days?
I tell you what, I think it was longer, but I don't disagree with you in public.
I just
Or
know
in
it
private,
seemed
for
like
that matter.
It went fast, it seemed like.
It did seem quick.
Time flies.
It was a couple weeks and then another week to mix or something, I think, but it did seem like a few days.
Yeah, amazing. All right, let's talk about the title track, No Mercy in This Land. I know that's a personal song. You wrote it, but you're inspired by Charlie right here. So, yeah, what's the genesis of that?
You wrote it.
Yeah, no, for me, you hope that a song can be applied in different areas and different emotions in life, so it doesn't just speak to one lane. Some have got to speak to just, one direction. But sitting on the dock of the bay, and I'm not doing any just because Steve Cropper co-wrote Dock of the Bay. It's again, people who talk about themselves in the same sentence as people like that end up looking silly, and I'm not trying to look like that up here.
Yeah.
But they can mean different things to different people depending on what they're experiencing, and so hopefully No Mercy in This Land is that as much as it's pulled from Charlie's life and my experience, hopefully it can speak in different directions.
And you just released another single, right? The Found This Love, or one.
Found the One.
Find the One.
Yep.
Yes, Found the One, and it's
Yeah.
really like a love song too.
True enough, and that was its own challenge, right? Putting a love song to the blues,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So what was that like, pulling that together?
No problem at all. I mean, the whole session was it just flowed. There wasn't any bumps in the road. I mean, everybody was on the same groove.
Yeah, I'm of the perspective that if you get musicians, if you move all the drugs out of the way, move all the alcohol out of the way, and just make it about great food, constant coffee. You get musicians fed enough, caffeinated enough, and the right players in the room. That's where it's happening.
It all goes down from there, right? Here we are seeing you guys play blues. Obviously, you've been doing it for so many years, and Ben, you're more new to the scene, but what's the magic of blues? Charlie, what about you? Let's hear it from your perspective.
The magic of blues.
Yeah.
Well, to me, blues is a kind of music, but it's more than just music. It's like a philosophy or attitude or a way of looking at life. It'll get you through life, whatever. It's your buddy when you're up and your comforter when you're down. It's there for you, whatever life throws at you. But the main ingredient is like however bad it gets, don't back up, don't quit. You can do this. You can get through it all. And the blues will stick with you till you get through it, and it's time to party.
I love it. Do you echo those sentiments, or do you have a different philosophy?
No, I'm right in line with Charlie's philosophy on that. I mean, blues is a painless addiction.
Yeah, yeah. And what about today? Do you think, what is it like making this type of music today versus, 50 years ago?
Well, for me, what's so exciting about it, and maybe for all of us, is that we've kind of stumbled onto this new way of playing the blues. It's a new way of being traditional. It's still the blues, but it's of today in the 21st century right now. It's not like a rehash from something from Chicago in 1955.
Right.
I mean, here we are. I look out in the crowd and I see faces, and I mean, the average. Charlie and I are raising up the average age in this room by a good decade or so. We might, It's a beautiful, beautiful thing, and to see that, younger people being turned on to the blues through what Charlie and I are doing, and the older set who already know, accepting it for its contribution, hopefully, to the genre. Only time will tell. That's equally as fulfilling, and those places meeting in the middle. It's a rare place to arrive, having been at this so long.
Yeah.
So, and also to see people when Charlie plays, I can only imagine if I was young or a kid coming into music and just heard and saw Charlie do what he does at the highest level ever on that instrument. I'd lose my shit. So it's really cool to see people lose their shit around Charlie throwing down at the highest level. I'm just riding his coattails, man. I'm like, woo.
Oh my gosh, I love the admiration. But it's
so real.
It's mutual too, believe me.
Yeah.
Very mutual.
Okay, I have lots of questions, but what have you learned from Ben through this process? Maybe that you didn't, know, something that you've grown, how he's helped you grow, rather.
Well, it's nice to see that we can get it across to people in this new way. I mean, that's the big deal for me, that it's like a whole new crowd, a new generation is going to discover the blues because they can relate to it the way we're giving it to them.
And
Or we have to talk later.
Yeah. And what have you learned from Charlie through this process? Like,
One of the main things I've learned from Charlie is that your musical and artistic and creative life and career doesn't have to be an arc. It can be a trajectory. I've grown up with Charlie's music, and he keeps getting better. And the fact that you can keep getting better and improving in your art form for a lifetime it's a very important point of inspiration for me, especially at this age.
yeah.
Because I'm at that weird age where you still think you're young.
Yeah.
You know, you get out on the basketball court to play some, pickup game, you're like, oh!
Creaks and cracks and
Yeah.
ouch.
Although
Yeah.
I keep skating. Skateboarding is my thing. When I'm not making music or wiping a shitty diaper on an 8-month-old, I'm skateboarding.
Wow.
And I'm trying to get him on a skateboard. Eventually, it'll happen.
I'm trying to put some wheels on a surfboard.
I want to
say.
see all of this happen.
Yeah.
What's it like to be a new dad to an 8-month-old?
Incredible. Kind of makes me ask, what am I doing here now? It's like you got to work. You got to fulfill your dreams as well. But boy, I'll tell you what, it's shape-shifted my entire perspective, and there's nowhere else I want to be than holding that baby boy in my arms. So. Yeah.
Well, hopefully you will. I know you guys are going on tour.
Yeah.
Very exciting. You've booked a ton of dates.
Yeah, the little baby's the opening act.
Okay, great. I was wondering, is
coming
the
out.
baby coming along
Yeah,
on the road with you?
Yeah, I tell you what though, he is so entertaining. I could put him out there, and he'd just be like, "Woo!"
I'm
It's
sure
cool.
the fans would love it.
Yeah,
What can we
child exploitation.
What can we expect on the road? I mean, obviously you'll be playing tunes from the two records, but what's it like when you're both out on stage together, live?
Well, some tunes from the past and some that you maybe you'd never heard before, and some from the new album, and sometimes we might just spontaneously do something we never did before.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
like to keep it wide open and spontaneous,
Yeah.
and we figure if we're having fun, you're going to have fun too.
That's it.
Sure. Yeah, so not the same set list every night, per se. You'll change it up.
We might start off following it, and then we just veer off and go our own way. Let the music take us where it wants to go.
Take me back to the day that you two met, or how you two met, because I know you've knew of each other, but
I got the call from John Lee Hooker to open a show. John Lee was doing some gigs to help pay the bills at a small club in Northern California, right?
Yeah, and I got the call to come sit in with him.
And I got the opening act. I got the call to open up. And listen, I'm nobody right now, and back then I was even less than nobody. But John Lee and Charlie embraced me like family from the jump, and that was rare.
that's amazing. I actually saw you play New Orleans Jazz Fest, Ben, like many, many years ago,
All right.
back in 2003, and you had
Thank you.
everyone up out of their seats and the crowd going, so
One of the great American festivals and institution. Charlie and I both played it quite a bit, and
Yeah.
I remember the first time I got the call to do Jazz Fest. It was a big moment.
yeah. What do you think? You've been doing this, you just celebrated, I think, the 50th anniversary of your debut album. That's pretty incredible.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Never
That's
went out of print.
Yeah, it's never been out of print since 1967.
amazing. What's the secret to your longevity in the business?
Boy, I don't know. Just keep getting up every day and going to work.
Yeah, yeah. Do you think down the line you'd want to collaborate with other people? Bring other folks into the mix with you too?
I don't know. Always open to good ideas.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't? I wonder who the third, because you're Batman, I'm Robin. Shit.
Say something right now. then
I don't remember
later.
a third Catwoman or some shit. I don't know. But she was on the other side, so I don't know.
A little female vocalist or something in the mix.
Yeah.
We'll have to think about it.
Ben, anything on the horizon for you? I mean, in terms of music, are you already thinking like, okay, I know what I want to do next?
I've known what I was going to do next since 1994, my first record, Welcome to the Cruel World, and I've known every record that was coming after that since until now.
Huh.
This is the first record I've ever made that was an arrival where I didn't have or want anything around the corner.
Yeah.
Kind of freaking me out.
So, yeah, the future's wide open for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Charlie?
Oh, I have some stuff I recorded in Mississippi. It's in the can, as they say. And
Yeah.
see the light of day sometime. It's timeless, so it can sit around as long as it feels like it.
I love it. Would you remember the first time you picked up a harmonica?
I really don't. I mean, they were just around the house. Seemed like forever. I mean, I thought everybody had a harmonica. You know, it was just a common toy when I was a kid.
Yeah. But
It's still a toy.
but you turned that toy into a profession. I mean, a job. I mean, how did that happen?
A job? Is it a job? Well, I liked the way it sounded when I was a kid, the way the blues harmonica sounded on records, and I thought one day, well, you got some harmonicas, maybe it feels even better to play your own blues. So I just went out in the woods and started teaching myself, but not thinking about a profession in blues. I just wanted to play for myself. Then when I got to Chicago, things changed. And I was going to all the blues clubs and just hanging out, but Muddy Waters found out that I played harmonica, insisted that I sit in, and when people heard me, all of a sudden I started getting offers for jobs. I thought, that got my attention. That was my ticket out of the factory.
Wow.
Do you have a favorite Muddy story? Just a quick one.
Yes.
I don't know if I can tell it.
I know some of them. I know.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Do tell.
you even just,
Go ahead and,
Yeah.
no matter how risque it might be.
Yeah.
Well, here's one I think I can get away with. In Pepper's Lounge, it was Muddy's home club because he lived right around the corner. And Pepper's is on 43rd Street on the south side of Chicago, and they'd be open to 4 in the morning. And I remember being in there one night and Muddy singing, "I'm a Man." And this is going on and on and on. And then Muddy steps back, and James Cotton, his harmonica player, steps forward and starts blasting away with this heavy solo. While that's happening, Muddy turns around, takes a beer bottle, and shakes it up real good and puts it in his pants.
Uh-oh.
Then he turns around, comes back up to the microphone to start singing, and James Cotton steps back, and he's singing "I'm a Man," and unzips his pants, takes out the beer bottle, pops the cap off of it. Foam was coming out all over. He's shaking the beer bottle. "I'm a man." And ladies are swinging their purses. "Sing it, Muddy, sing it." You know? And I mean, the whole place was just going wild. And I mean, Muddy could put on a show. But this wasn't the show you would see at the Newport Folk Festival or the White House.
That's incredible. Ben, have you heard that story before?
nope.
See?
Because if I had, I might not have asked.
I love it. It's not on me. Well, that's amazing that you're still learning about each other, and there are things that even after, quite a few years, touring and hanging out together.
Hey, but I'll tell you, see, that right there, that just scratches the surface. Because I've heard the ones he can't tell.
That's amazing. Well, I asked you about the harmonica. I know you grew up in a musical family, Ben.
I did.
Do you remember that first time when you're picked up the guitar to actually play?
I spent my whole life on one instrument or another from the time I can remember. I mean, I used to sit on my dad's lap. I remember at 4 or 5 years old, and he'd be watching Soul Train, and I'd be on his lap, and he'd be bouncing me up and down to Soul Train and smoking a cigarette at the same time. It was, yeah.
It's incredible. And
I was going to say it was cool, but he was smoking a cool.
Still cool.
Yeah. But Saturday morning, clear as a bell, we'd be watching Stevie Wonder on Soul Train. My dad's, and Soul Train's on at 9, 10 a.m. early. Pop smoking a cigarette with a tall can, like a Coors. Yes. Well, and amazing. And in retrospect, man, what were you doing drinking a tall ass can of beer at 9 in the morning? We have a problem here.
Yeah. Right. Very early. But,
Yeah.
But
still,
a big
crazy
influence.
Memory. Big influence and a
on
beautiful
you.
memory. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, amazing. Well, I'm very excited to see what you guys do on tour this year, and I know you have a lot going on, so it's really exciting. Do you each have a favorite song off this new album that just kind of speaks to what you want to say today?
I like the title song, "No Mercy in This Land."
Me too.
Yes, that's your favorite.
Powerful
Yes.
and deep.
Yeah,
That's the one that let me know this record was going to be somewhere we hadn't been.
yeah. Did you feel like you pushed yourself further with this record, like in terms of songwriting and in terms of the music?
I don't know if push would be the right word because
Yeah.
there wasn't any resistance.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, it was a flow.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Well, we're excited to have you here. We have some questions from the crowd, so hang tight.
We're excited to be here.
Don't leave yet. So let's get it started.
Hey. So I got to see you perform at Austin City Limits a few years ago with Pearl Jam.
Thank
That
you
was
for
awesome.
being there. Red Mosquito.
Yeah.
Right on.
I was wondering, playing with other musicians and collaborating, has that changed your music over time at all, or affected how you play music?
Collaborations have been a big part of making me the musician I am, for sure. Collaborations teach you in a way that nothing else can possibly, that you can't learn from.
I agree. Same thing. It's a new way of thinking because you have to play with somebody else and fit in what you know with what they're doing. Left to my own devices, I might just go in a circle.
Same.
Thanks for that
Thanks for your question.
Yep.
Hi. I was wondering, what kind of venues do you guys prefer to perform at, or which ones are you more interested in performing at?
What type venues?
What type?
Oh, yeah.
Well, the most fun I ever had was like in little juke joints, but you can't really make a living there. Maybe if I won the lottery, didn't have to work for a living, I'd play little juke joints.
Yeah, I'm with you. I love smaller places as well for the the intimacy factor.
Yeah.
But there is a whole separate intimacy from playing in front of 50,000 people who are all in on the same wavelength with what you're putting out there. So I love small places and super big places.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for that. Well, guys, thanks so much for coming by today. It was such a pleasure.
Thank
The new album will be coming out March 30th. You guys will be on the road. And give it up one more time. Ben Harper, Charlie Musselwhite.
Thank you for being here. Thank you.